Hi, I'm Gunnar. This is my review of 1994's Interview with a Vampire, directed by Neil Jordan, starring Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and Kirsten Dunst. Now, this movie is basically a biography movie of Louis, Brad Pitt's character. He's the protagonist. This movie follows not about his journey to become a vampire. That happened 13 minutes in, which is very quick and caught me off guard. This movie is more about his journey as a vampire in the vampire world, kind of, not really, in a human world with his vampire companion, Lestat, played by Tom Cruise. In this movie, we get to see Louis develop as a vampire morally and ability-wise. Now let me get this straight. In my opinion, I think that the first half of this movie is way better than the second half, mainly because of every single strongest element of this movie is pretty much packed into the first half itself. The movie manages to blend the traditional, more bloodier, gorier, grittier vampire elements and folklore into the more aristocracy and fancy schmancy setting of a colonial America. And that, I think, makes for a very interesting setting that I really like. The movie's biggest strength that I'm talking about is, hands down, the performances from all the three leads. Tom Cruise as Lestat is probably his best performance I've seen him in a role. Seriously, it's right up there with Collateral, and no, I have not seen Magnolia yet. Don't at me. His character is cocky and charismatic and fun to watch. Yeah, he's the villain, yes, but it's more so of that he's a vampire doing vampire things. He's embracing the tradition and what gifts come with being a bloodsucker, right? Killing people and maybe making another vampire. So he's not necessarily evil. It's just that Brad Pitt Louise doesn't want to kill people, which is very fair of him too. So there's this nuance to his character that make us hate him not because of he's a vampire, it's because of his personality himself. At first, I thought that Brad Pitt's Louise would be a kind of a boring vanilla protagonist who's always morally right character, but I was wrong because his character is really good in the second half when he ventured off with Claudia. He is really good at acting his decisions. For the most of the movie, he's trying to figure out what he should do with his curse he's given. He's thought of this power as the curse, right? So his facial expression is, you can see him think. You can see his thought process, what's going on in his mind. And in the second half, you can see his emotion bursting out even more because that's when his emotions, starts to explode. The second half is at the point where Louis gets the audience sympathy and support. So when we get to see him being in pain or yelling his heart out, we feel it. We sympathize for him. And that is what makes his performance here quite powerful too. And we can't forget about the unanimous, unexpected MVP of this movie, a very young Kirsten Dunst as Claudia. And holy moly does she act it here. Claudia is a little girl who became a vampire with the help of Louis and Lestat. Now, she is a little girl, yes, so naturally Kirsten Dunst plays her character very dramatically, very loudly, and very expressive, just like a naive young little girl. But as the movie progresses, she gains this maturity that, once again, Kirsten Dunst acted brilliantly, superbly. You can feel her changing and becoming a more woman, but while her body stays the same. And that, I think, is unanimously incredible. Which leads me to my favorite part of the movie. For a solid 30 minutes chunk in the middle of the movie, it turns into a family drama where Louis and Lesage have to babysit Claudia as a parent, and their interaction and their chemistry is insanely entertaining to watch. It's wholesome at times, yet it's so revealing for all their characters. It's great. Okay, now, notice how I barely mentioned the second half of the movie, aside from me not getting to it yet? Well, it's because it's the movie's weakness, and it's not that memorable compared to the first. I'm gonna be going into full spoiler territory in the second half, so I'll leave a timestamp around here. So skip if you don't want to know spoilers, alright? Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. I miss Lestat in the second half. Killing him off in the second half really creates this big, gigantic hole in the movie that not even an entire church dozen of vampire can fill it. The Paris vampires felt so bland and interesting compared to Lestat. And Antonio's Banderas vampire character, who I forgot the name, didn't do much than to be a big bad boss. You trying to recruit Louis? They lacked any nuance and complexity to the character. It's just volumes, they're just dozens of vampires and they're just plain evil. They want to kidnap Claudia and her mother and makes Louis a part of them. That's just their plan. There's no complexity behind it. Oh yeah, and they also killed Claudia and her mother during a part where her character development gets really good, and her development and her meaning, her reasons, her purpose is been discovered. And they're just like, oh, sunlight, throw him in the sunlight, kill him, execution. Sad. But I guess it leads to like a cool 3-minute scene of Brad Pitt, Louis getting revenge and kill the vampires. Sure. But thankfully, the last 5 to 10 minutes of this movie is absolute goddamn cinema. I was cheering my ass off when Tom Cruise Lestat somehow reappeared and like giving this insane cliffhanger, I suppose. Just like, dude, that is such a dope ass ending for a movie. That's just so cool. I'm not bothered by this not having a sequel, because how do you top that, right? Where do you even go from there? This, leaving it like this, oh, absolute cinema. Oh yeah, and there's also the interviewer. Is there? So overall, I'll say this movie is pretty good. The first half is way better than the second, but as a complete package, I think this is a fun and entertaining and kind of like, you watch it for the performance, right? You watch it for the great performance of the 3 leads, and you will definitely be satisfied when it's finished. So, overall, 4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed my review of this movie, please leave a like, and if you want to see more of me casually doing grab bag reviews like this with a movie, please consider subscribe, ring the bell notification, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.